Welcome to Roads Uncharted, session 10. I am Vanamiri. I am the dungeon master. I am joined by James, who will be playing Jokul, Cole, who will play Riala, Tim, who plays 8, and two guests tonight, our friends Dan and Spencer, who will be playing Tuck and Zell, respectively. We join our party in chaos. They have just experienced a wedding in the city of Isha, but the wedding unfortunately came to an abrupt end when a loud boom went off, and the city is now trying to escape. The ceiling that once opened up to expose the sky is nothing but stone with a large crack in it now. The guards are trying to organize people, trying to get them out of the city. Everyone is bottlenecked at the beginning or at the entrance of this city. And Riala, Jokul, and 8, at the end of our last episode, heard the clanging of swords and the clash of metal. But first, we're actually going to do a little bit of a rewind. While the wedding was going on, Zell, Tuck, the two of you have arrived at the city of Isha. Garlands of desert flowers were hung over the stone entryway, and the portcullis and the wooden doors at the end of the tunnel were open and welcome. The guards nodded to you as you walked through those wooden doors into the city proper. And you could see that the city was vastly empty. If you didn't know that a wedding was going on, you would think that the city had been abandoned. That's how empty it was. As the guards get their first looks at you, what do they see? And we can start with Zell and then move into Tuck.
Well, Zell is a tiefling, so I'm big and purple, and I have a set of ram's horns, and I am dressed in the most garish yellow fine clothing I could find. And that's they see me and my friend Tuck here.
Hello! It is I, Tuck, Paladin of the Seven Swords. I'm just under 6 feet tall, although I wouldn't go around admitting that. I am fair of hair and complexion, wearing... What's the step down from half-plate? Split mail, yes, that's what it is. I remember these things. We called it something different in my time. Other than that, I'm a human. Yeah.
He's not from around here.
All right. So this is what the guards see. And what you see are men standing by the door in beige, floor-length robes with red headscarves, but no visible weaponry. As you are walking through the city and kind of checking things out and seeing if there really is anybody to even talk to, you suddenly hear a loud boom. And when you look around, you actually see what was the exposed sky not a moment ago shift suddenly to nothing but stone that matches the cavern and a large crack form where the hole used to be. And shortly thereafter, you start hearing screaming echoing in the cavern, and from the far wall in front of you, way down at the end of the city, you start to see people rushing out of possibly the temple. And then as they're getting closer, that's when you hear it. You hear feet running down the hallway behind you, that stone tunnel that you just came through. What do you do?
Okay, so we're basically just inside the city. Can you tell me about the geography around the city?
Yes. So, and this will be a good reminder for anybody listening. Isha is a city that has been built into the walls of a canyon. So kind of think dwarven stonework, but it's all been done by humans, not dwarves. So the way to get into the city is there's a carved entryway which you have to follow. You go through that down a stone tunnel, and then there's a set of doors. And when you get through those doors, that's the city itself. And on either side, there are buildings chiseled into the walls. And normally the very front buildings would be very indicative of vendor stalls. You get so the buildings are all on the sides, and the farther you go down the cavern, you actually start seeing bridges that are crossing over the big chasm, and enabling you to get from either side of the city. There are stairways built into the walls as well. And then at the far end, which you wouldn't know yet, but you've heard rumors of it. So you haven't actually seen this, but you've heard rumors, is that there's a very elaborate temple at the very back of the cavern, and there's also um, a big fountain where people can get their fresh water source.
A temple to whom?
The Isharans worship a few gods. Um, their biggest and most important god being Ikar, which is a god of truth and knowledge. The Isharans tend to value truth and kindness and generosity above all else.
Hmm. So I assume the explosion had a direction. We know which way it came from, or did it come from up?
It's very difficult to tell, just because you're inside a big stone cavern, so there was a lot of
Yeah.
echoing. You do know that it, at least at the very bare minimum, had an effect on whatever was going on with the ceiling.
And you say everyone's running in a direction. I
Yes,
assume.
so all the citizens are now running from the temple towards you, but you also hear running from behind you, in the coming from the tunnel that you just exited out of.
Well, Tuck, you love temples. Let's go check it out.
Excellent. Stand ready to provide assistance.
Yeah, always.
All right, so are you just standing there, waiting for everybody to come to you?
No, let's get out of the way.
Yeah, let's sort of get out of the way and sort of maybe move towards the temple.
All right. So as you're heading towards the temple and kind of out of the way, it doesn't take long for people to come up to you and bombard you and start pushing you towards the entryway as they're trying to leave the city. As nice as the city is, it really wasn't designed for mass exodus, and having one egress and entryway that the mass public knows about obviously is causing a bottleneck, and you are being crushed up against people, and you're being pushed around and knocked around. And it doesn't take you long to realize that the running that is coming down the temple is actually coming from people wearing white tunics and a strange symbol painted in red on their tunic. And I want Tuck for you to make me a history check.
Okay. No.
Money, big money. Oh no, not big money.
The money is definitely not large.
Small
He
money.
reacted just perfectly to how Cole usually acts. Just spot on.
I like
Incorrect.
Lincoln.
Oh.
So what'd you end up getting?
Oh, that's like an 8. It's not a number I would have chosen to roll.
All right.
Rarely we choose those roles.
Right. So you're looking at the symbol,
It sure is a symbol.
but you're not like, something about it seems very familiar, but in all the chaos, you're having a hard time focusing on it enough to really hone in on what this symbol is. But they're running down the tunnel, and they've actually got their blades drawn.
Oh.
And
Oh.
they are met when they come through those wooden doors. They actually are met by the guards, who pull out weapons from who knows where, Maybe there were hidden pockets in the robes. I don't know. And they meet them sword to sword. And we're gonna come back to Jokul, Riala, and 8. So you hear clashing. People are at first were pushing away from you and trying to get out of the city. Now they're pushing against you. They're trying to back up.
Can I see what's happening?
Excuse me, we're trying to push through, but you appear to be shoving us backwards.
Riala, you can't really see what's going on. There are a lot of people that are much taller than you that are in front of you. And they are doing their best to jostle and get away from whatever is beyond them. So they're even turning around and just pushing their hands out, palms forward, to push you all out of the way.
Joko, can you see anything? You're like a head taller than the rest of us.
Would I need to make a perception check for that? Or is Jokul indeed just tall enough to be able to kind of see over the crowd?
What's your passive again?
9.
Oh my god!
I'm going to
See,
have you make a perception check for that. You are
I'm
much taller, and there aren't a lot of people that are tall enough to block your line of sight completely. But I will say that just with all the jostling and all the movement, it is a little difficult. But you actually make it. And you can see that ahead of the group of people, you see more people are coming through the tunnel where you all entered from yesterday, and they've got swords raised and there's yelling, and now the guards are fighting them, and you see this like purple person with bright yellow clothing. I mean, it's chaos up front.
Yeah, Joe will relay that and just go, the city's under attack, because people in different colored clothing and cards, that's a solid conclusion.
Under attack?
Is there anything that we can do?
Well, we can defend the innocent. I draw my meat tenderizer.
Thanks, I hate it.
You're what?
You heard it.
Yeah.
It's a meat tenderizer.
Yes.
8 doesn't really carry a weapon, per se.
Oh god.
Sounds like you're splitting hairs there.
I want to cast. I'm going to reach for my holy symbol, and I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to cast spiritual weapon. That looks like a Grim Reaper scythe.
Spooky.
And
Just hanging over your head? Good lord.
Fitting that aesthetic.
That'll got the population.
Well, I summon that, and I move it as far forward as I can.
Okay.
Come, Jokul. We must protect Bessie. And I start shoving my way through.
You're going to start shoving. I'm going to make anybody who's trying to shove through the crowd do a strength check for me.
Can I get advantage if I hold on to Jokul?
I was going to say
I'm going to say no.
Oh.
If you're going to hold on to Jokul, I would actually argue that that's a disadvantage.
I just rolled a 1, so I get to the first person, and I stop, and I tap them on the shoulder, and I'm just like, excuse me, I need to get through to dispense justice.
Victim of your own programming.
Oh my god.
Imagine that civilian turning around and seeing a robot with a meat tenderizer saying this.
Well, I didn't get very far. I rolled an 8.
All right, you rolled an 8. 8's got a 2. What'd you get, James?
Please.
I can't muscle my way. I know Jokul can't muscle us through. Can he argue acrobatics to like
maneuver?
Shimmy?
Yeah, sure.
Just like there's 2 people at me. I'm just sideways and like
you're gonna bob and weave?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll allow it.
I didn't do any better. I rolled a 10.
Good lord.
Oh
All right.
my.
You all are trying your best, but you are just not making headway. And in fact, the crowd is pushing you farther and farther back with even more intensity. We're going to shift back to Zell and Tuck real quick. What are you two doing? Are you still standing around now that you see these people
How close are we
coming.
to the actual fighting?
You're within 30 feet. Yeah, because you guys didn't get far down the temple before people came up
Right.
on you, shoved you towards the temple, and now they're running away. They're trying to anyway.
So Sam and Tuck are in the middle, whereas we're further back and enemies are that way.
Yeah, so the way it's set up is that you have the entryway into the city. There are the people in the white tunics. Then you have Zel and Tuck. You have the mass of Isharans, and then you have Riala, Jokul, and 8 at the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think first priority is making sure the civilians get away from the fighting. So, I'm gonna police the line, I suppose. If anybody comes through, I'm gonna try to intercept them.
Okay, so you're gonna try and intercept the people that are running at you with swords.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Zel, what about you?
Oh. I guess I will help him intercept.
All right. I want both of you to make me an intimidation check, please.
Oh, I'm good at intimidation. Nice. 19.
I also got a 19.
Zel and Tuck, you turn and you put your hands on your hips and you puff up your chests as much as you can. And you make the angriest face that you can muster. And the people that are running down the tunnel actually stop for a second
Aha!
and are looking at each other and looking at the two of you and trying to figure out what is going on. Like, who are these people and why are they here?
Does one of them seem to be in charge or more important than any
Not
of the
that you
other
can
ones?
see, no. They all are wearing the exact same garb. Nothing is really standing out as this person is of higher rank or anything.
And these are the people charging in with the swords who do not seem to be from here, yes?
Yes.
I'm going to point to the one closest to me and demand he explain why he's here. What are you doing here?
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, that's not as good. I'm going to burn one of my luck points because I want
Okay.
to see if I can do better.
Well,
I want to know, Dan. That is a 22.
So the closest one to you is actually one of the shorter ones. And he is still standing there with his sword raised, and he looks at you and he goes, We're here to take the Spellweaver! And all of them yell out, yeah! And they all rush into you. Now, Riala, Jokul, and 8. People now, you hear screaming up ahead of you. It
How
went
far
silent.
ahead? Like
How far?
60 feet?
From you, you're actually at 80 feet. This is like the entire city is between you and the front entry. But as people start to run and push against you again, they are actually starting to part and go to your left and your right. So you are actually, the crowd in front of you is starting to thin and you're starting to get a view of what is going on. And you see, Riala, you now see, and 8 now sees, since you couldn't before, someone in splint mail, a purple tiefling in bright yellow clothing, and a whole bunch of people in white tunics brandishing swords.
I turn and look to my companions and I say, that group of white tunic wearing miscreants looks rather intimidating. I do say we should probably aid those two flamboyantly dressed characters up ahead of us.
I'll nod, and as soon as I move 20 feet forward, I want to take my spiritual weapon and I want to put it between the people, like the innocent people, and the people in the white tunics, kind of as like a.
Okay, so you're going to move up and then you're just going to place your weapon. You're not actually going to attack yet.
I will wait to attack until they make a move to attack.
Okay.
Jokel's likewise standing with Riala. His spiked chain is pulled off and looking menacing. And on the off chance she actually can respond, Jokel will do like the the whistle he did in the ghost town. See if he can get Maeve to respond, but probably too far away.
Probably too far.
If she can, people will get out of the way of a warhorse.
As we're moving forward, I would like to unclasp my mask with my other free hand, put on my ibis mask, and touch my face, and then touch Jokel on the shoulder and cast Shield of Faith on him.
Awesome.
That gives him +2 bonus AC for 10 minutes. And I keep hustling up as quickly as my big metallic frame will carry me.
Okay. So, Jokel, you hear no response from Maeve, but I do want everyone to roll initiative for me.
Well,
So who got higher than 20? Anybody?
Jokel has a 21.
All right.
I have a 17.
3.
Yeah.
I have an 11.
14 for 8.
So I got my initiative order going. All right. So, Zell, you actually are. Sorry, no, I take that back.
You're
I had
so
this in
slow.
the
You're
other-
going next round.
Yeah, pretty much. You notice some dirt on your shoulder, and oh, that's interesting. I need to clean that up.
Your cloak was so yellow.
Yeah.
You're just like, stupid cave-in, made my cloak dirty.
Jokel, you are first. What are you doing? And then with Tuck, I want you to be thinking about what you're doing. You're not next in initiative, but you are coming shortly afterwards. So, Jokel, what do you do?
Jokel's got. Are we still escorting what's his name's wife? I forgot it. Or is she just lost to the crowd now?
Oh, we have the pregnant lady.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah,
civilian?
you have Aquila.
We probably got separated from her, though.
I mean, I imagine she was kind of trailing
You
behind
lost
us.
a pregnant woman in the crowd?
I would imagine
Probably.
what happened was that when the crowd started doing the parting of the Red Seas, you kind of shoved her off, like go where there's people. I can't imagine you would have kept her around,
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So, okay. Well, with her safe, then Jokel will just kind of give Riala a pinch on the shoulder and just throw himself into the mess.
A pinch. Wow, that's so
I don't
romantic.
Well, do like the I got this. You know me. Like he obviously he's going back into his role of the when they were with the guild of don't make it too public. Just going, I'll be back.
All I picture is like that really platonic tap on the shoulder. You'll do just fine, kid. And then for some reason, like Jokel, like sauntering off into battle. I know Riala had moved up to 20 feet so that she
Yeah.
would have her spiritual weapon in range. Like I said, where you guys originally were standing, you were about 80 feet away.
And I know before we called last session, we had potentially mentioned Jokel using his Shatterkai racial to move, but that didn't happen.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
can
so
he?
if you want to use it now.
That's what I was going to say. I'm a bonus action to jump through the crowd and basically close the distance with the attacking army and attack the bad guys.
All right.
So I will use my Blessing of the Raven Queen to teleport 30 feet, move 30 feet, and then just that should get me in range to attack a couple people. Yeah, it's an awesome Misty Step.
All right. So you manage to Misty Step and bam, you are right next to the garish dressed strangers. And you see all these people coming at you in white tunics and they're brandishing swords and they're screaming at the top of their lungs. And
So yeah, Jokel just teleport in, and he'll under his breath he'll just be like, "Shame to get this white fabric all bloody. Eight's gonna hate me," and then just whip his chain into the crowd of attacking people.
Did you say Eight's going to hate you?
Maybe. I mean, Eight's the fashionable one. I guess we like black because black doesn't get dirty.
You wore the brown pants.
Yes.
Right. That 14 hits. So go ahead and let's see. So you're
11 damage.
all right. So you rush in. You do Misty Step, you start charging into the crowd, reach back with your spike chain, you whip it down, and you slash the nearest person across the chest, and blood just starts to gush out. And he screams and he drops his sword and clutches at his chest, and he's staggering, and now he's looking and he's extremely angry.
Well, if he's not dead from that, then we are level 5, so I'll use my extra attack to swing the chain at him again. Wow. The dice like me.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So after that first slash, you whip your chain back, following the momentum, and you bring it back one more time, and you actually decapitate this poor man, and his body falls to the ground. All right. His buddy.
And that's my turn.
His buddy standing right next to him.
Gross.
Did you have anything else you needed to do, James?
Nope. That's my move, bonus,
All right.
attack, extra attack. I'm done.
Okay. Now his buddy standing closest to him now turns to you and he charges at you with his sword raised high. And in fact, he's gripping his sword now with both hands and screaming a blood-curdling scream. All right. That I know is a miss. So we are going to say that as he's charging at you, he ends up tripping on a stone and falling just past you. All right. So with that threat out of the way, Tuck, you see a dark-skinned elf appear out of nowhere at your side and brandishing a spiked chain, and within 2 blows, he has decapitated one of the invaders. What are you going to do?
Oh, sorry.
Well, he probably deserved it. All right, then. I'm going to move up so that I am adjacent to him. And if there's another one to attack, fantastic. And I will probably use Branding Smite on it.
There certainly is. There are quite a few of them.
Great. I'm just going to make sure I'm within 5 feet of Jokel, and I want to absolutely lay into one of them and attempt to knock another one out. So, here we go. Come on, Copper Die, don't fail me now. That's gonna be 15?
That hits.
Oh, you didn't fail me. That's amazing. It might have been 8. Might have been about as terrible as you can do. So, I'm doing great. Doing great. Yeah. So, take that. And I'm going to have to hit him again with my extra attack. That was not exceptional.
So you cast Branding Smite. You attack. He doesn't go down right away. And in fact, you look like you're just pissing him off. He's starting to get very red in the face.
So there.
So you did 8 damage with that first attack. Are you following it up with another one?
Yeah, okay. Let's give the system a chance to redeem itself. All right. So I guess we just click on it and oh, look at that. Ha ha. 3.
3. All right. So you raise your sword again and you slash at him and you cut a big chunk out of his arm, but he is not backing down. Is there anything else you wanted to do? 8, you are on deck.
No, you're up. Go for it.
All right, 8, your turn. What are you going to do?
Excellent. Well, Jokel has gone ahead and disappeared and reappeared far ahead of me, and he's all weird and blue or something now. That's concerning. But I'm like forever and a half back, and I'm slow, so I'm just gonna use my move to keep pushing forward. I'll be right there. Hold on. And how many bad guys are there?
From what you can see, there are 8.
Oh, that's a great number. I will pick one randomly, preferably not one that has been slashed and is almost dead. And I would like to cast Guiding Bolt. I hold out my... Ooh, that's bad. I hold out my meat tenderizer, and I shake it, and I hold out my right hand at these white tunic people, and I say, "You have ruined a great ceremony. Feel bad about that." And the meat tenderizer fizzles a little bit because I rolled a 9, and my guiding bolt does nothing. I did not put enough oomph behind that feel bad about what you've done. So I'm just going to keep moving because that obviously didn't work. So
All right. Well, thankfully the crowd is like I said, it's parting with the Red Sea, so you now have a clear shot to where you need to get to. Riala, you are up.
Okay. Oh, spiritual weapon is a bonus action, so I'm gonna do that first. This giant black menacing looking scythe
spooky.
to take a smacky smack at one of the people, the bad guys. Those dudes. I'm eloquent. I need to stop playing fancy characters because I'm not fancy.
Go right ahead. Do a thing.
Okay. Riala's like so prim and proper, and I'm just out here like smacky with the big stick. Oh no, that's a natural 1. These die are grounded. Goodbye.
How much
Right,
damage do I take?
So, well, I was just gonna say, so this spiritual weapon was up
Oh, that's
ahead
a
of the
plus
crowd, which
5.
has now
So
disappointed.
that's a 6. That's a 6 total, but it is a natural
6
1.
total. 6 total. Oh, all right. Well, so you take a swing with this spiritual weapon, and it swipes over the heads of all the invaders. You don't actually make contact with anybody. Jokel, Zell, and Tuck, make a dexterity check for me and dodge.
Always with the dexterity.
It doesn't hit any of the bad guys, but it hits my friends.
Roll the
Ha!
dice, man.
Just
Everything's terrible.
that
Tuck
was
is
a 20.
great at avoiding stuff.
All right,
Get out of
so
the way.
There is a man with a
Tuck
spiked
and
chain
Zell-
who just magically appeared, so.
they leap out of the way. I mean, Joker, you've never seen people move so fast. But unfortunately, being distracted by them jumping out of the way, you do feel something slice through your arm.
Oh, look, a scythe!
And I'm going to have you take a mere 2 points of damage.
Technically, since I misty stepped, I still have the resistance, so can we
Ooh,
say the
that's true, you
resistance
Is that
reduces
against
it to that too?
is that
or-
against non-magical attacks?
I have resistance to all damage, well, until the start of my next turn.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
That is
do you want me to
Then we
reduce
will
that
say
2
that
to 1, or do we want to say the 2 is the reduced number?
We'll say the 2 is the reduced number.
I'm good with that. Ow.
Ow.
So, Riala, you see this thing go over everybody's heads and then all of a sudden just slice through Joker's arm. And then it sets up and gets ready for the next attack.
Oh shit! I'm gonna swear under my breath, probably in French, but I don't know any French swear words, so do with that
Ah,
what you will.
merde.
Ah, merde. Well, that means
Yeah,
shit.
that's what you're looking for.
Yeah,
Well, it's the same
exactly.
in Italian. So then I want to, whichever bad guy is within 60 feet of me, I want to pick one of them, and I want to I make some motions with my hands and my eyes go black, and black energy comes out from my hand as I cast Ray of Enfeeblement. And that is a Constitution save.
All right, so there is one that is closing in on Jogel and is actually within your range right now. So, all right. And what is your modifier? Your spell
13.
casting? Let me see. 13. He actually makes it.
No, son of a.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Cole.
That's okay.
I can't help the dice, all right? I'm sorry.
Well, shit stick. That didn't go according to plan.
Anything else?
No. That's it.
All right.
Dicks.
Zell, I want you to be thinking about what you're going to be doing.
I'm thinking.
Jokul, that person that you attacked and whose face is bright red in anger charges at you, and he raises his sword high and he takes a swipe, and he stumbles yet again and runs past you. The person that is close to him wants nothing to do with you. You've got something that is spiked and it has some range. So he's actually going to go after the purple thing that doesn't look like it has a weapon at its side. So Zell, this one's coming after you. And he misses. He pummels into you. Can you make a strength check and see if he knocks you down?
No. Oh no.
These are easily the worst attackers ever.
Oh, definitely.
15, even with a -1.
All right. He pummels into you, but he ends up falling from the force of your steadfastness. And that is your turn, Zell. You are up now. And Jokul, you are on deck, so be thinking what you want to do.
Okay, so this guy who has fallen over in front of me, is there anyone behind him in, say, a 15-foot cone shape?
There are quite a few people in a 15-foot cone
I'm
shape.
gonna burning hands
Bill
him,
is
then.
not okay. Go right
So,
ahead.
No hesitation.
Oh yeah,
And-
I've been thinking
yeah.
about it. There, I'll put that in there.
If I'm correct, you get disadvantage on dex saves while you're prone, so that's good logic right there.
Because they I don't roll for burning hands, do I? They
Yeah.
make saves against it.
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
sure
right.
anyway.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna blast that guy and the people behind him.
Okay. That's 1,
I'm gonna find my d6s.
2, 3. All right. So before I give the results of that, Zell, I want you to also roll a d20 for your wild magic surge.
Oh, good. Just a d20. I thought it was something more eccentric than that.
Sorry, d100.
D100.
No, it's a
so,
d20.
Oh,
Yeah,
D20.
it's the DM asks for a d20 roll. If you roll a 1, then you get the d100 chart.
Oh, okay. That is a 5.
Nothing unusual happens when you cast your burning hands. However, so you cast your burning hands and you have this cone of magic fire reach out ahead of you, and unfortunately, you catch one of the guards, and he is now screaming at the top of his lungs, and he's pushing himself up against the stone, and he's batting at himself, trying to get the pain to stop.
Yes, that can sometimes happen.
And yes, the one that fell down actually is not looking so good.
Okay.
Rest of them managed to escape, surprisingly.
What a bunch of jerks.
I know. Just shock, isn't it?
Okay, so I'm rolling to damage the guy on the floor and this guard I accidentally burned.
Yep.
Okay, do I roll those separately, or am I rolling just 3d6 and doing that to both?
Why don't you roll them separately?
Okay, one of them takes 6 damage, and
Okay, so that'll be the guard.
the next one takes more, 12.
All right, so the man in the tunic that you hit actually burns up into a crisp.
Mm, excellent.
And he is no longer screaming, he is no longer writhing.
Glad that stopped.
Oh my.
Anything else?
Oh yeah, holy crap, I get more actions. um, I am just I always forget that I have real weapons. Um, I am going to I guess can I sort of take a step and get to one of the ones that's already been injured with my dagger.
There's one that's past Jokel, he's probably the closest one to you.
All right, I will hop over at him and I will attack him with my dagger. That's a 17 naturally.
You walk up to the poor person who is staggered and has fallen and missed every attack on this dark elf. And you just walk up without any hesitation and you stab him through the throat. And he
Just
collapses.
an excellent first impression. All right.
Well
At this
struck.
point, you are up. Unless there's, let's see, so that was attack. I think you're actually good, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so Jokel, you're up. Tuck, you are on deck.
So unfortunately, Jokel's like spooky ghost facade fades. Darn. So he'll just wade into the attackers like, oh, I accidentally decapitated that guy. On to the next one. Just
All right. The next guy is just beyond. I mean, they're all kind of, in a way, clustered.
yeah, which makes it great targets for Jokel because he's just hanging back with the spike changed reach and just going, and I get you, and now I get you. Stabbity stabbity.
All
12
right. You raise your chain again and you reach forward and it slices through another invader. And with his chest bared and all of his organs falling out, he collapses to the ground dead.
Oh, good. I don't need to waste a second attack on him. Next person.
All these poor
love
dead
it.
people.
Just wah.
You, on the backswing, you bring your chain back around and you slice into another person. This time, he doesn't collapse to the ground, but he is bleeding quite profusely.
And that, yeah, Jokel will continue pushing forward to make himself be the threat. Like, stop harassing the civilians, come at me. So he'll continue pushing forward, just taking off limbs, taking off heads with his chain as he moves forward. And that's all. I'm good.
Tuck, you're up.
All right. Well, so which hand is your dominant hand, Jokel?
If I recall, I believe we said he was left-handed at some point.
All right, I'm gonna be on the right then, and I'm gonna come up beside him, try to keep him within 5 feet, and I'm going to also attack whoever's unfortunate enough to be close enough.
Take your pick. You got the one guy who Jokel just wounded, and then you have quite a few that are still clean and not bloodied.
How many of them are left?
I think that was 3 down, so we should have 5 left, and
Yep.
one of them's injured.
Yep.
All right,
So 4.5.
we'll take the first attack on the injured one.
All right.
Is it time to bring you out of dice jail? Oh, natural 20, of course.
Welcome back from dice jail.
Just
I
he
have
only
a
had
feeling
1 hit
Cole's
point
gonna
left.
be wanting to know where you bought your dice.
Quick, give me some metallic dice.
That's 10.
You raise your sword, and You barely nick this person, and he falls to the ground.
Excellent. Onward. Upstream. Like a murderous salmon. So we're going to go ahead and use my class ability Divine Smite to boost the damage of this next attack.
Alrighty.
Ah. Here we go. Oh, good. That's a 19.
All right. Choose your victim. Roll your damage.
All right, so that's going to be 3d8 plus 2. 10, 11, 14.
You raise. So after you downed that first person, you on the backhand turn and swipe your sword, and you decapitate the next person. At this point,
Just
the
glowing.
few remaining people in tunics that still are there, they start booking it back down the tunnel. And just as they are, you all hear another loud boom. And the ground starts to shake underneath your feet.
Bigger game.
Oh, good.
Excellent.
Attack of opportunity on any of the ones running, or just
Yes, you can.
The bloodlust doesn't end.
Aha.
Oh.
You reach. You swing your chain, and as these people are running, you end up catching one around the ankle with your chain, and you knock him to the ground, and he's now unconscious.
unconscious on the floor. He's out of the fight.
When the ground stops shaking, you see that there are people. All the Asharans have run back toward the temple.
Well,
They've stopped about midway in the city to watch and see if you would prevail. And as the invaders, the remaining invaders anyway, run down the tunnel and escape, they had started to cheer. And then that boom sound happened again, and the ground shook, and they all stopped. You can see the bodies strewn on the ground, many of them in not pretty shape. And you all look at each other. You can appreciate the other group's abilities.
Well
Is there
met.
anything you'd like to do?
Certainly this one with the chain. He's a maniac.
My name is Tuck. This is my companion Zell.
As soon as the fight is over, I would have run over to Jokel and immediately looked at his shoulder and just take his arm and just be like, "I'm so sorry. I was trying to. Are you okay? I didn't mean to hit you."
He's got like a splinter, and she's
Yeah, like Jokel's like,
Hey, can someone see to that guard that I burned horribly?
Oh, yes. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
trundle over there. I'm going to lay on hands on the guard.
introductions can wait. Let's get the civilians to safety. This cavern is still potentially coming down.
I show up
Oh, right.
after Riala gets there. I'd been running the whole time, but she still managed to get there before me. And, I got here as fast as I could. And there's a lot of dead people.
Do Warforged really get winded?
This one
It's
does.
an affectation, probably.
Okay.
It's not exhaustion. It's like sand and crap getting in his gears going, damn it.
Or at the
He's got
very
bits
least-
of cavern in him.
At the very least, I do it to imitate the flesh and bloodlings that I see. It puts them more at ease.
Ah, creepy.
That
Nice.
sounded logic too. You get used to it.
Poor eight.
Hey, DM boss.
They're like the nicest person, and like everybody, the minute they meet them, wow, you're creepy.
Are Warforged something I would know?
Yes. So the last time you actually saw Warforged was in battle, and they were some of the most powerful weapons that both sides used during the fight.
Ah,
Hello, I am 8. I do believe
Well
this is
then.
a bad time to be meeting new people because there appears to be a commotion going on.
I had noticed.
honestly, this seems to be when I meet most people.
It's true.
Why does this happen everywhere we go?
We go to nice places.
This is why we can't go to nice places.
They're not so nice when we leave them. I'm just mad I didn't get to go to my 8th royal wedding. Pretty frustrated about that.
We weren't even invited to this one.
I haven't been invited to any of them. Anyway, let's...
Perhaps we should get everyone to safety.
That, yes.
Agreed. Let's secure the gate. I'll go rally the civilians that ran away and fetch Maeve while we're at it, and Bessie. Get them
Thank
out
you.
of here in case the gate's coming down.
I will, I don't know, something.
Help direct traffic. You're good. Encouraging.
Watch out for the giant crack in the ceiling. Head to someplace safe.
Will do. And Joko will retreat, and he'll go basically urge the civilians towards the gate. Like, the gate's clear, the gate's clear. Go. And then he's gonna book it over to the stable where Maeve and Bessie are.
All right. So the first thing I want is for 8 and Riala to make an intelligence check. Or no, I'll make a wisdom check instead.
Those are two very different things.
Yeah, and I probably would have been right with my gut instinct, but we'll see. All right.
13.
16! I did it! I rolled above a 10.
So everybody go, yay! So you both, as you're maneuvering and the ground is still shaking ever so slightly underneath your feet, it occurs to both of you that you were able to cast magic and there was no issue. Your magic actually came to full effect when you asked it to.
I don't know about that.
Oh shit, you're right.
Well, okay, maybe in your instance 8, but still. You are all hustling civilians. You said, I know, James, you said you're going to the stable to get Bessie and Maeve. And you're all trying to help the civilians get somewhere?
Yeah, we're directing
Oh, help, not
traffic,
hustle.
everything.
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
figured
ask one of the guards what's up with these victims.
All right. So you do see some guards are actually checking out the bodies.
Hello.
One of the guards turns to you. Yes. Yes, sir.
So what
Thank
was this
you
all
for-
about?
I do not know.
Does this happen often here? Sounds dangerous.
This is the first time that this has happened.
Ah. Unfortunate. And on the day of the wedding, even.
Yes. I can only hope that the princess and the prince made it safely underground.
Underground, is there a way out of here that's not the tunnel?
Of course. Do you think we would only have one entrance and one exit from our beloved city?
Did seem like poor urban planning, yeah.
Do you think that we should direct people to that exit?
That would be most helpful. I am afraid that if the ground continues to rumble like this, the city will collapse upon us.
Well, then we should probably move quickly then.
Yes, yes. And he reaches down and he pulls one of the invaders over, and he jabs his chest slightly with the tip of his sword to make sure that he really is dead. And he turns to all of you and says, "Do any of you recognize this symbol?"
Did I hear them scream to the spell weaver? That whole thing?
You heard from your distance, you would have heard something being shouted. You weren't exactly sure what, but then you did hear it erupt in that big scream. So you know that something was screamed. You aren't sure what.
We could probably share that information. It's just right before right before we started fighting. I'm not gonna say who attacked whom.
Not gonna point fingers. Or
Yeah,
anything.
I'm not gonna point fingers or hands or anything like that. They did scream something about a spell weaver, and I don't know nothing about that. Does anyone?
Spell weaver. Does that sound familiar to me?
Jokul, Riala, and 8 can all run an intelligence check if you'd like.
I technically already left, so I didn't hear this information.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you are at the stable.
I rolled a
Also,
7.
out of curiosity, have any of our characters experienced a natural earthquake? Is it potential that this is a natural earthquake, or is it's too clearly magical? Somebody boomed something.
Considering it occurs after you hear the noise each time, I think you can safely assume that Jokul would ascertain this is not a natural occurrence.
Okay.
And the ground isn't shaking constantly, is it? It's
True.
intermittent, right?
Yes, it's intermittent.
Okay.
All right,
Just
so
because
8
I
out of
know
7.
earthquakes as a Californian doesn't mean my character does. So
Yes, yeah, I think just considering, okay, one thing happens and then the next, I think it's safe to assume Jokul would think, okay, this is something not natural. Well, what did you get?
A 5. The curse is back in full swing.
Um,
I'm so
Neither of
excited
you-
to not play D&D anymore.
recognize the term Spellweaver.
Great. I love that.
Does the guard?
Would
No.
Okay.
Oh, someone asked about it. Oh.
would my gut instinct, DM, is concern for the woman I met at the library.
Oh.
Are you asking or are you telling?
I am saying this as me telling you as 8, I am concerned for the woman I met at the library.
Okay. That is fair.
I don't know about the Spellweaver thing, but it seems coincidental based on what I learned and what she did for me at the library.
I will
Oh,
say
cool.
real quick that Jokul, you are able to get to the stable. Maeve and Bessie are there and they are safe. Are you bringing them back into the city or?
I assume the stables have been abandoned by the stable masters and helpers. So yeah, Joko would pop open the gates to their pens or whatever, and Maeve's trained well enough that Joko trusts her to follow him. So he's mostly focusing his attention on, all right, robot donkey, go. We leave.
Bessie's a good girl.
And go.
But Jokul has no experience with a robot donkey. Whereas like, Maeve, I've raised this horse. It will know to follow me. Robot donkey, he's got an animal handle to get going, I assume.
More like tech handling.
Mechanics
I don't know.
check.
Are you pushing Bessie? Are you grabbing her lead and leading her where
Yeah,
she has to go?
He would like basically do the bridle that you'd normally put on a horse or a donkey and just go, "Come on,
Okay.
Bessie," like in a
So
hurried
she
fashion.
follows easily.
Yeah, and then he's just headed back to the gate with where everybody else was.
So the rest of you were talking to the guards about the invaders and learning about them looking for something called a cell weaver. You see Jokul coming back through the entryway with Bessie. Maeve more following, Bessie being kind of led along.
Bessie! I run over and I grab put the donkey's face in between my big metal hands and I kind of rub them. Who's a good donkey? Yes. And I turn to look at Jokul. Thank you. And I take the bridle from him.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
All right. So guard and I should say the guards, because there are a few of them at this point. They've all kind of gathered now. Are heading towards the group of people, and they're screaming out in Isharan, and they're all pointing back towards the temple. And you see the mass crowd is starting to head away from the main entrance, which is where they had headed out originally.
They said they wanted us to direct people underground?
Something like that,
Or
yeah.
to a secondary exit.
Does anybody know where that is?
Jogel, Riala, 8, you all see somebody is actually heading towards you, and you notice as they get closer that it is Sahar. And she's very wide-eyed, and she's looking at all of you and saying, "Oh, good, you are all safe. That is good.
Are you all right?
Yes, we're fine. The guards are directing us to a tunnel underground, under the temple. Are you going to come?"
I believe so. We were going to try and help as many people as we could. Is anyone else hurt? Is everyone okay?
Oh, no, it looks like there are just bruises from all the scuffling and the running, but no, it seems everyone is fine. All right, good. Do you... And she stops and she notices Tuck and Zell, and she's looking at the both of you. Well, you were not at the wedding, correct? I do not remember seeing you.
No.
That was wonderful timing.
These two strange
Yeah.
folk helped us repel these white-tunicked invaders.
Really not much of invaders.
Oh,
Really.
um,
Junior
she-
effort.
She nods at both of you. And in fact, Zell, she gives you a noticeably deeper bow.
Oh.
And she says, "Well,
Uh.
thank you so much for helping Jokul and Riala and 8. I am glad that these people caused little trouble for you, and I know that my people appreciate your efforts."
Not a problem. Who were these people?
Yes. Did you recognize the people in the white tunics?
She looks over at the bodies and visibly shudders and turns away from the gore. No, I do not recognize any of them. If you'll excuse me, I need to go help my mother. Please, please, hurry. Do not stay. The guards are telling us that the city is going to crumble. We need to get to safety.
If
She
these
grabs your hand, Riala, in both of hers, and she clasps it gently but firmly,
I
and she smiles at you.
I put a hand over her hand and give a bow of my head.
She releases it and then heads back towards the crowds.
Well, I
Alright,
suppose
shall we then?
standing around here doesn't do us much good now, does it?
We start heading towards the exit. Following
Yeah.
the crowd, I'm assuming.
Towards the temple?
Yeah, that's where the crowd is headed, yes. So, as you are walking toward the crowd and following them towards the temple, you do hear another boom, but this time it is much louder and much closer sounding. And you turn behind you to see the portcullis, or not the portcullis, the wooden doors that led to the tunnel collapse under falling rocks.
Ooh.
And the ground
Mm.
is starting to shake under your feet. And I want everyone to make an acrobatics check to make sure that you can stay on your feet as the ground shakes.
That is a straight D20. Okay.
Oh, natural 20.
Oh, come on. How many tabs of dice rollers can I have open?
I'm gyroscopically stable.
So I see
That's a
Zell got a 9, 8 got a 20,
That's a 7.
Joker
7
got a
for Riala,
14.
14. What about you, Tuck?
Ooh.
Okay, so
Oh dear.
everyone but Tuck manages to stay on their feet.
With a
Tuck, you
7?
actually lose your footing and you fall on your ass.
Wait, I
And
live
the rest
with
of
a
you
7?
hear,
Oh, this is most
yes.
embarrassing.
Would you like to fall? I can change my numbers.
No, I'm good.
It's
I'm
not
good.
that bad down here, honestly.
I'm good. I'm just
Um,
surprised. I was ready to fall.
It wasn't that high of a DC, let's just put it that way.
Who's ready
so-
to fall?
Our new heavily armored friend appears to be prone to falling.
I'll be fine.
Do you
As
need a
long
Are you
hand
like
up?
doing the
As long as
turtle
you
thing
still
where you're
have
like
the
rolling on your
sword.
back to try and get up?
I can get up. I'm good. Thanks.
All right. It doesn't take long for the shaking and the sound of rocks falling to stop, and people are now moving much faster. And in fact, they're for the most part jogging to get back to the temple. When you arrive at the temple, you see that guards are ushering people toward a back room. In fact, the back room, Jokul, A, and Riala, that you saw the prince and princess being led to by a few guards right as everyone else was exiting the temple. When you arrive at the temple, is there anything that you're doing? Are you you guys tell me what's going on.
As we're walking, as a group, I'm gonna be chit-chatty. I turn to our new companions and I stare at them. 8 is a large Warforged character. Their metal plating is actually like a whitish color with gunmetal rims, so it's kind of like a rose gold kind of trim. And they have large purple lenses for eyes and a big protruding jaw. They have hands with fewer fingers than traditional, and the fingers are giant. Think kind of like Ninja Turtle hands. And they wear blue-colored vestments over top of them, and their plating is kind of etched with all manner of different symbols and iconography that is kind of foreign. No one really seems to know what it's supposed to mean. And this character stares at the two of you in earnest as you're walking, just literally their head turned, their eyes fixed on the two of you, and
Well, the only question I have is, does your mouth actually move when you talk, or is the jaw entirely for style?
it moves. It moves.
Okay, good.
And
Oh my god.
and I say, as I said earlier, my name is 8, and this is my companion Bessie, and these are my best friends Jokal and Riala and Horse Jones. Who are you
Hmm.
two?
Well, usually he must be kind of worn out from the stabbing. Usually he likes to shout quite a bit.
No, I'm good.
Ah, yes.
I'm
All right.
excellent.
This is my friend Tuck. He's prone to wild changes of personality.
I have no idea what he's talking about. This is slander against my character.
And I'm Zell. We're traveling away from some unpleasantness from north of here, I want to say. Or we from north of here, or south. I can't
South.
remember. South of here. South of here. And I am not a fan of silence.
Very interesting. My best friends are also running away from unpleasantness. Oh, but that's a secret.
Huh. All right.
As
Well,
Riala's trailing behind Kate a little bit and just gives him a little bop on the back of the head. It's not a secret if you keep telling everybody, 8.
Well, if they also can keep the secret, then it is still a secret.
Rolls her eyes.
Secrets
But
are more
I can
fun
keep
with
a
friends.
secret.
in not a mean way, but like oh, this is 8 kind of way.
Ill-advised to spend.
Oh, I guess. So what you guys see, Riala is a petite young woman. She has shoulder length blonde hair, straight cut bangs, blue eyes that are almost white, alabaster skin, and on her covering any skin that's visible is these like bluish veins that are faint on her skin, and she is clad in browns and black garments, and she has a symbol of the Raven Queen on a pendant. It's a necklace. She appears human.
a rather severe-looking group of people then.
Oh yeah.
Quite, all of you.
Oh yeah.
Severely adorable.
You are moving quickly with the Asharans toward the temple. And 8, you said you were conversing with people, and then we discussed what they see. So go ahead and say what you were going to say as far as conversing with your new companions on your trip back to the temple.
Well, what brought the two of you to the city?
I heard there was a royal wedding. I'm something of a collector.
A collector of weddings?
Royal ones, not just any weddings. I'm not going to go to garbage weddings.
I see. And what constitutes a garbage wedding?
Oh, you'd know it if you were there.
I see.
There's no real definition, but it's something you feel, 8. Something you feel.
Ah, feelings.
Why go to all these weddings? That seems like an odd thing to collect.
You meet interesting people, and it's where the best food is.
That is true. It is well known that rich folk have the best food.
Yes.
I don't think I've been to very many weddings now that I think about it.
Well, this is my first wedding, and I must say, the after party is quite smashing.
Oh dear.
Well, if it was just the wedding, you did not get here in time for the actual ceremony.
No.
Is that why you came to Isha?
Well, we found ourselves in the area. Maybe had some trouble with a cult. And
With a cult?
yeah, they were you're pretty basic cult, and they weren't, you know,
They were also a junior effort.
yeah, they weren't great. I mean, we maybe managed to ignore a bunch of their stuff, but yeah, they were a pretty basic cult.
You seem to have quite the interesting run. You said you're coming from the south.
Yes, far from here.
Where is that? What town?
Oh my god, where is that?
We don't know.
You guys
Christina-
essentially
Christina
have
would
been
know.
traveling all over the South, so
Yeah, neither of us are particularly good at directions, I guess.
We-
So we
don't
just
know.
follow the roads.
yeah.
Joko will chirp up at that. And she's like, "Are you sure you're traveling, or are you just lost?"
Well, I haven't seen the same place twice.
That could mean you're lost, depending on your definition.
I would question what the difference is then.
Huh. I suppose.
It's been interesting.
It's better than staying in where were we? What was the name of the place with the Baron?
Yeah, we were from a large city in the south that we angered a baron, a duke.
Duke, yeah.
slight difference.
Ah,
A duke baron even.
Oh, what's
He might have just been named Darren. I don't know.
that doesn't sound good. Are
It
you on the run?
we're on the run. Haven't had much trouble from it recently.
we're advancing in a different direction.
That's one way to put it.
Yes.
That sure is one way to put it.
Well, the other ways are terrible and make us look bad. So that's the way I'm going to put it. And honestly, I didn't do anything to deserve it anyway.
That's what a guilty person might say, but I'll let you have that one.
Don't worry. You can trust me.
You can trust him. It's sometimes frustrating. I'm not entirely sure he understands the concept of lying.
Why would you?
I like him.
It serves no purpose.
Agreed.
It sure doesn't, buddy.
Although, unfortunately, some circumstances call for it.
What? Never.
Hmm.
Possible. A donk.
No!
That was my worst attempt. Are you happy?
So it's just like a car horn then? Because it's a
Sure.
robot?
Meet me.
I was going to go with steam train.
It's more like boat horn.
Anywho, all right.
Where
so
are all
Big
these
noise
people?
capacity.
Where are all these people going?
so
We've been walking forever, haven't we?
you well, considering how long the cavern is, that doesn't surprise me. It's about a mile
God.
or more from one end to the other. So you don't run into too much else on your walk back to the temple. And people, the Asharans have now congregated where the reception hall was. You can see as you're entering it, tables have been knocked over. There are plates of food and drink that have spilled. Candles have been snuffed out. It does look chaotic.
This was quite the party. I regret missing it.
Yeah.
Those candles burned
Absolutely.
very long while we were here.
Unfortunately, now people are standing there, and you can see the group of guards off to the side, and they're talking amongst themselves. Nobody's moving. You're all just standing in the reception hall.
Can I try to listen in on the gods that are talking? A little bit of eavesdropping.
You could, but they are all speaking Isharan.
Oh shit, that doesn't help me.
Can I try it with comprehend languages?
You may.
Okay. That's what I'll do.
You cast comprehend languages, and as you tilt your head in the direction of the clump of guards, you do hear that they're arguing amongst themselves. Some are saying that the entrance to the tunnel is in the back, where the priests and priestesses have their barracks. Others are arguing that it's hidden somewhere in the walls. Nobody seems to really know where the entrance to this tunnel is.
We're all gonna die.
Does nobody work here?
Wait, are you saying what? We don't know.
I relay this information to the rest of the group, obviously,
Okay.
as
Oh,
I hear it. I did roll a 15 for my perception check, by the way.
Yeah, you're good.
no one knows where the exit is.
Is there anyone around who looks like a priest or a priestess?
Not in the sense that you would recognize a priest or priestess.
All right, guys, do any of you know what any of their priests or priestesses look like, and are any of them in the house?
Perhaps this is a weird question, but does Riala see any ghostly figures?
Ooh.
Boy, what now?
You know, Riala, I think this would be a good time for you to break that out. If you want to do your thing.
Secret things.
Oh, secret thing. Wait, what?
Oh my god.
It's so secret. I don't know it.
Just we're gonna have
That's
to
a
talk
good
to dead
secret.
people.
Riala, while your new companion is listening in on the guards' conversation and Jokul and Eight and Tucker scanning the crowd for a priest or priestess, while you are scanning, you see someone that stands out as not belonging with the rest of the Isharan crowd. Their form looks to be as if they also were attending the wedding, but there is little to no color in either their skin or their clothing, and the edges, the outline really, of their body is blurred, almost as if you were looking at a picture of someone and the edges had been blurred with Vaseline. It just melds into the air around them. And that person, that older woman, is looking right at you.
I'm going to give Jokel's hand a squeeze before walking towards this person.
I assume I don't see this ghostly figure since that's not something Joko can do.
Right, you do not. You just see Riala walking toward the crowd.
Seems perfectly normal to me. Just keep on trucking along behind her.
Is there anything around her? Like, is there anything like I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at, but is there like a painting on the wall or something I can like kind of just like busy myself with so I don't just like
Look like you're talking to dead space.
yeah.
This person is standing right in front of a crowd of people.
Well, guess it's happening. I'll lift lift my hand up a little bit and give a very small wave to see if they acknowledge me.
They nod their heads slightly, but they don't break eye contact.
I'll get a little closer so that they can hear me and I can whisper and try to be nonchalant about talking to dead space, but to me it's not dead space. And I'll say, hello. What is your name?
The person doesn't respond other than a large smile raced across their face.
Do you know the way out of here?
They nod.
Could you show me?
The form slowly dissipates until there's nothing left. But you hear a door opening at the back of the room.
How far is that from me?
10 feet. There's nobody near the door when it opens.
I'll walk over to the door and carefully take a peek inside.
It looks to be an office. There's a desk and a chair, and there's bookshelves full of scrolls, and one very large text open on the desk.
Is it dark in the room?
There are sconces with candles, and they are lit. So it's not bright by any means because there aren't any windows leading to the outside, but the candlelight is bright enough for you to see around.
Okay. Can I take a look at the book on the desk?
You can.
It's in Asharan.
Yup.
Did we notice her go back there?
I would say you did.
Yeah,
Somebody can comprehend languages.
I wasn't sneaking.
Jokel's still keeping an eye on Riala, but doesn't
Jokel,
know
are you
what she's...
following her, or are you just like standing and just watching as she goes around?
Yeah, just keeping an eye on her. Like if anything, like roof collapse or just she needs help with something, Jokel's just kind of nearby, but obviously not enough to interrupt whatever secret stuff she's up to.
All right. So you all see Riala go towards the crowd, stop for a second, and then she goes to some back room. Jokel's keeping an eye on her. What did the rest of you do?
I guess I'm gonna go see what's in the back room.
You're like, ooh, she's poking around. I'm gonna
Oh,
go follow her.
like being nosy. That's me. Let's do it.
Jokel, why is Riala wandering around?
I assume she found something, but the guards seem to be having a issue with where the exit is, so maybe Riala has found an exit of her own.
This sure is a large hall. It will be a shame when it collapses and kills us.
Oh my god.
If she's found an exit, perhaps we should make haste and follow after her.
Yeah.
Who? Oh,
This way, Tuck.
Yes, excellent.
Joker will just kind of grab Tuck's head and go that way.
Ah,
I could just imagine. I imagine Tuck is standing there and just like Jokul moves Tuck's head and says,
Yeah, just the
and like really loudly, and all the Asharans just turn and look at Tuck like, what is going? Why are you so loud?
Oh, I'm sure they don't like that at all.
Oh,
Right.
church is different where he's from. Sorry, they're supposed to be really loud in church where he is from.
Oh my god.
So you all
that may be true.
head
I
to
don't
the
know.
back room, and you see Riala poring over a book, and
What
she
have
looks
you
very
found?
puzzled.
Do you want some help with that?
She jumps at this person walking in. She wasn't expecting to be followed. And she'll look up and she'll say, unless you can read Isharan, I don't know how helpful this will be.
As far as I know, I can.
You can.
Yep. Let me touch it.
Because that
He has to
doesn't
put his
sound weird.
hands on things. It's
I'm
very strange.
I'm very tactile.
I empathize.
just be like, it's
Not
in
at all.
braille.
No, it's just just let him do it. Just stand clear.
So I'm gonna go over to the book and I'm gonna see
Gonna
what
put
it's
your
about.
hands all over it.
I'm gonna get real up in this book's business.
Oh my god.
Right. As you're running your fingers over the pages and over the words, you realize that this book is actually a holy text, and it talks about various sermons, and it's currently open to rites that would be performed at a wedding.
Oh. They might be really mad at me getting all handsy with their book. All right. Well,
I think it's sad they had to study before they put on the ceremony. Like, do they not
What,
do
you
this
don't think
enough to just
priests
have it
read what they're
memorized?
supposed to do before they come out and perform?
oh, you should see this, man. It's really complicated. All right.
Ugh.
This thing probably took hours. But
How
So are
many
we-
times can you cast the spell?
Just all the time.
what spell?
Who knows?
I do believe he is just reading that book.
I think that the exit, either it's in here or there's a clue or something about where it is in this room.
Does the book have a table of contents?
Does
I,
the table have
well-
contents in it?
Like an index?
it probably, I think, would be more of an index than a table of contents. But I mean,
Okay, it's just how specific is this religious text to this particular city? Is this a widespread religion or is this something just
Oh, is this like the holy city of this religion?
maybe.
so like is there any information on where we are right now in this book?
No, this is like, think of it as if you were reading a Bible. Or
Okay,
you were
this is
reading
just
the
a
Quran,
Bible.
Or,
This doesn't have like
Like the floor plan?
like a tourist pamphlet in there or anything.
No.
Okay.
no,
Okay.
This is literally
how
just a
you
religious
build
text.
all
Yeah.
our churches.
Maybe they're really like about that. I don't know. Okay, so what else is in the room that I can touch?
Just getting handsy again.
Are you guys just checking out stuff in the room?
Or
Or are you-
I want to see if there's any secret, like, I don't know, doorways, something hidden in the walls. Is there
Okay.
anything on the floor?
Yeah, make an investigation check for me.
I hate this.
And anybody else who wants to do the same, or they want to just poke
Sure.
around, you can do an investigation, or you can do a
Oh, no.
perception check if you're just checking things out. You're not actively looking for something.
I am going to stand in front of the door with Bessie and try and block anyone who might be like, "What are y'all doing in that room?"
Wait, is there a robot donkey and a horse in this room with us?
No.
Well, the
No.
horse is sitting outside in the
Okay.
rain. Like,
I
Okay.
imagine if this is like the priest's like back corner office.
We're not
there's
in a
n-
rectory with a horse.
Yeah, exactly. I
Okay.
like Maeve is a war horse. Like she might be able to fit in the room.
I'm pretty
wouldn't
sure
be-
she's actually out in the main cavern. I don't think she
Yeah.
would have been able to. Yeah, she probably would have gotten some dirty looks if she wanted to come into the
Just-
reception hall.
Excuse me, I'm gonna bring my horse into your holy church.
All
I
right,
think
there's some dancing going
somebody
on. What's
rolled
this
a good
about?
roll.
I got a 19.
Oh
Oh.
yeah. Everybody do the Cole happy dance.
I think only she can do it.
I got a 14.
It's called the shepherd. You just kind of dad at a bunch.
Oh,
Mm. Right. Right.
All right,
didn't
so
that have an underbite?
Jogel
Maybe.
did a perception check, got a 13. Riala had an investigation, got a 19. What about the rest of you?
I investigated at 14.
Okay, and then Tuck.
Yeah, no. I don't
So
investigate.
we'll start with
I
Tuck.
stand dramatically.
Tuck starts to like rummage around, but ends up knocking a couple of
Tuck, don't do that.
goblets over.
I
They're
hope they
empty,
didn't need them.
thankfully. They're
I'm
empty,
sure they were
thankfully, but he
spare.
knocks them over and just decides I'm gonna just stand here, and he just places himself in the middle of the room and has his hands behind his back, like don't touch anything, don't touch
This
anything.
must be their grail.
Jokel, you're not really investigating, you're just checking things out. You see that there's bookshelves with, like I said, scrolls and texts, and you notice there's also a couple bookshelves with some knickknacks. You're not entirely sure if they're religious objects or if maybe this priest or priestess is a collector of sorts, because there are things like little plants inside cloches, and there are little statuettes and boxes with big old honking locks on them. Nothing really fitting a theme, and it is very strange, all things considered.
Indeed.
Zell and Riala, the two
Mhm.
of you are rummaging through, and Zell, you happen to tackle the desk first, and you find the ledger book that discusses all of the charitable donations that the Isharans have given over the years with names and dollar amounts, titles, or their occupations rather. You find a hidden panel in one of the desk drawers that actually leads to a stash of coin.
I'm gonna leave it.
You're gonna leave it. Okay.
I'm gonna leave it.
All right. Riala, you're rummaging through the bookshelves and you're running your hand along the walls, and suddenly you feel something very strange in the wall. It's not a hole per se, because you're looking at it and there's no hole in the wall, but yet you move your fingers over it and your fingers go into the stone and meet no resistance.
Feeling this hole. Is there a switch, a button,
Are you
something?
pushing your hand further in?
I don't like that question.
I'm
That's
trying to
how you lose
understand
an
what
arm.
exactly you're doing so that I can give you an
Well,
answer.
no, that's what I'm doing. I'm shoving my hand further in.
All right. So as you move your fingers and put in more pressure, you realize that your entire hand is now going through the wall. But ahead of you, it looks like the wall still exists. Like everything from your wrist up doesn't exist. And you push further and further in, and your arm now is being enveloped by this emptiness. And you move your arm around, and the space is actually very wide. You could probably walk through the wall if you wanted to.
That
I'm
would
gonna-
certainly explain why they can't find the exit.
This sure is a big cup.
I think I might have. I think I might have found something. I'm gonna take a step, or like, how can I? How wide this is? Like how? Like it's
You've been moving your arm back and forth, and you could easily walk into the space.
Riala, you appear to have lost your arm.
I walk through.
Oh wait,
it.
no, it's back.
All right, you walk through it, and you walk through it as if you just walked through an open archway. On the other side, you see a stone tunnel lit with torches.
Jokul, Riala vanished.
What? Has she been captured?
I come back through.
I just need you all to know I didn't rob these people, okay? Just, it's important to me to acknowledge that I'm not stealing from people anymore.
I put my hand on his shoulder. I'm proud of you, friend.
Thank you.
I poke my head back through, or walk back through.
Oh, you walk back through.
Ah!
Oh,
Oh,
I was about to be terrified of a disembodied head.
No.
We should go. It leads to a tunnel. I'm pretty sure it might be the way out.
should we tell someone back there?
Yes.
Indicating. Someone go grab a guard.
Got it!
Jokul will just stick his head out from wherever he is and just whistle at the guards. Give that,
And
hey,
as you do that, Tuck is like running past you.
I'm gonna follow Tuck to make sure the message gets across.
We have found the exit!
Oh
Just
no.
pure loudness.
Oh no.
Everyone is now turning to look at you. Between the whistling that Jokul was making and you barreling through and saying, "We have found the exit." Everyone is looking at you. The guards have stopped their discussion. They're actually a couple of them are coming over to you. The one you spoke to earlier about the invaders is at the forefront, and he looks at you, Jokul, and you, Zell and Tuck, and he says to you, "What do you mean?"
Well, we
Yes.
found a passage.
Where?
Come look.
He follows you.
I walk through the wall.
Oh.
Exactly, right?
Just real
It's
quick,
terrifying.
just real quick. After they went to go exit, and before they come back in, I wanted to leave a in my pouch. I have a little thing of like the little cone incenses. I want to leave that, and then is there like a little bowl anywhere?
There's one on the bookshelf, but what do you mean leave it? Where are you leaving it?
I'm not lighting it. I'm just I'm kind of like leaving an offering for the spirit that helped us
Okay.
find it.
Got it.
Yeah. Usually I would light it, but we're gonna be leaving and I don't want to burn this down. Since the ceiling's coming down, that's punishment enough. So
That's fair.
leaving a little thing of incense, and then I'll take the bowl and pour a little bit of water out for it and set it on the desk nicely.
sound logic.
And
All right.
bow my head and say a quiet prayer real quick before everyone comes back.
All right. So the guard sees you pop in and out of the entryway, Tuck or Zell, and says, "All right." He leans his head in, and you don't see the body move, but then he leans back out, and he looks at all of you and says, "All right. I am concerned that the invaders will return."
All the more reason to leave quickly, isn't it?
Yes, I think that the guards and I will follow everyone from the back. Would you please, all of you,
go first.
Yes.
Excellent.
We can do that.
Also,
A quest.
I'm gonna cast minor illusion on the wall to create an outline of the door.
Okay.
And I'm gonna write on it, "This is a fake wall."
Amazing.
All right.
Just
The guard
kind of an
goes
asshole.
back out into the reception hall
brand.
and actually no, before the guard leaves, he's going to turn to all of you and say, Are you I am guessing you will want to bring the horse.
Yes, she can't stay here.
She
I
is our
wouldn't leave her.
friend.
He looks up at the ceiling, says something in Isharan, and then turns to you and says, All right. You may bring her through. Just make sure she watch where she looks.
She's better trained than most people I've met.
She's better trained than Bessie.
He raises an eyebrow at that, but then goes to back out into the reception hall, and you can hear him calling out to people very loudly in Isharan. And from the sounds of it, he seems like he's giving instructions.
I can still
Um,
comprehend languages.
you-
That runs for a
you-
whole hour.
You understand that he is giving instructions.
Also, I assume he said a bad word when he looked.
No,
at the ceiling.
what he actually said when he muttered after looking up at the ceiling was he was asking for forgiveness
Yeah,
for
that was
bringing
my
a
other.
beast through the temple.
Uh,
So you hear him giving instructions. He is telling people that you will be leading them and that the guards would be following up behind. So people start ushering into the temple, and they're crowding into some people, as many as can anyway, are crowding into this small room with you, and they're all looking at you, waiting.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna go through the illusionary wall
You're
and
gonna head
explore
up
the
the.
tunnel.
All right.
Oh
you're
yeah,
First.
just walking directly into traps is my brand.
Of course.
That's true.
What a
I got
brand.
a lot of hit points.
well, I guess I gotta make sure he doesn't die. He's come this far, so I'm gonna follow him.
You're gonna go right after. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for
It's the inevitable screaming
and the horse.
and the robot donkey.
I can follow up in the back. It's okay.
I'm waiting for
Portmanteau, man.
Jokul and Maeve, and then I'll follow.
Yeah, Joker will be polite and let like handfuls of like 8, Riala, and everybody step ahead, and then 8 Joker will leave Maeve. 8 can have Bessie, and we'll be the last 2, because that way the animals are in the back of our small group.
All right. So Tuck, Zell, Riala, 8, Bessie, Jokul, Maeve, Isharans, and the
Yeah.
guards. Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right. You head into the tunnel. And it's not really as wide as the tunnel at the entrance. You can maybe fit 3 people across. It slopes down farther and farther into the deep, deep earth. And as the last of the Isharans and the guards enter through the tunnel, the sounds of all the feet, the scuffling of metal and boots, creates a bit of a clamor as it echoes in the stone tunnel. And eventually, you don't hear it. It all just becomes one cacophony of sound, and your ears become numb to it. tunnel doesn't deviate much. It just goes down further and further. No turns. It doesn't head up. Just down. And then the torches stop. And it's dark ahead.
As soon as the sconces would run out, I will cast light on. Is it? Which one's the paladin? Is that Tuck?
That's Tuck. Yes.
Yes.
To make him even more shiny.
That's fine.
I'm gonna lightly touch his the chest plate and cast light on that, and suddenly Tuck is a beacon.
I was gonna say Tuck's like split mail chest plate is like pooh.
Just like he's always wanted.
Yep.
Excellent.
At the same time, I pop
This is a grand adventure.
I pop my spoon out of my wrist sheath and cast light on it, and I have my light spoon.
Light spoon.
Ah, yes,
Whoa.
the light spoon.
Nobody ever lets me see in the dark.
I
With-
tried to help.
Those beacons.
I'm tempted to cast darkness. I
You
don't.
see that what's ahead of
Darkness
you
is
in the darkness
overrated.
is actually a large room. The tunnel has come to an end. And in this room are several doors, all leading out into dark tunnels of their own.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
turn left.
Well, I was going to say this is where we're ending our session tonight.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You will have to tackle the tunnel and all its mysteries next session.
Dun dun dun.
Oh, Lord.
What a
it's not a
cliffhanger!
suspenseful
mystery of the tunnel.
Christina's really
What
good
more
at
in
leaving
the
things
tunnel?
on a cliffhanger. It's like her favorite pastime because she knows it hurts me. Kidding.
I think it's just more it's reason to tune in next time to keep listening.